sure how you'll make rent, or you lost your job. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light. Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need.
211, how can I help you?
Call or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected. Get help. A message from United Way and the Ad Council.
Hey everyone, it's Norm. And every Tuesday afternoon, 3 to 5 Central, I'm coming right at you here on WRLR. Let's share some information. Have lots of fun. We'll play plenty of music as we finish the business day in the office or take the drive home. Stream the net, WRLR.FM. 98.3 FM is the voice of Lake County on the radio dial. Join Norm Tuesdays, 3 to 5, right here on WRLR.
Getting a flu shot helps us stay healthy, so we don't miss out on what matters. Like that family movie night your daughter can't live without. Yeah, can't do that. Every year, millions of people in the U.S. get the flu. Especially now, no one has time to miss out on moments that matter. So get your flu shot. Find out more at getmyflushot.org. Brought to you by the AMA, CDC, and the Ad Council.
Tune in every Monday night at 7 p.m. right here on WRLR 98.3 FM. I'm Marty Love, the host of Bacon Bits with Master Happiness.
And I'm not alone.
You're not?
I am not. I'm here with my bestest buddy,
Tiffany.
There you go.
We've all got reasons to be scared, angry, or sad. Happiness is outnumbered 3 to 1. Give us a little bit of your time, and we'll see if we can give you a reason to smile. That's Bacon Bits with Master Happiness, Monday nights at 7 p.m.
Isn't it nice?
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to 98.3 FM, WRLR LP, Round Lake, Illinois.
Welcome into the Sports Corner with the Sports Guys for a Saturday morning. Another one of those typical Saturday mornings with cloud cover, chilly conditions, but we're going to keep things on the warmer side here this morning. A lot to talk about. We'll talk about the Bulls here shortly. We'll also talk about the Blackhawks. What do they have to offer? They're winning as of late, which may not be a good idea. We'll get to that a little bit later on. Football-wise, go from the wild, wacky wild card week last week to the divisional games here this week. Could be pretty interesting depending on what teams will be doing what. Could be some snow in Kansas City. That could be interesting. Could be sloppy too. We'll also talk about some things with the Bears on the, shall we say, management front. And then we got college sports to talk about. Upsets galore. I mean, upsets after upsets. What does that mean for the big dance, which is still weeks away? A lot of games to be played. And we'll talk about high school sports last night. There were a couple of upsets, a big one. And if you can tell by my voice, there was a big game that we had over in Gurnee in that big gym. It was exciting, and a lot of fans out there to watch the big game between Libertyville and Warren, the Blue Devils' big upset. Well, we'll have things to talk about with golf. LIV has a TV contract, believe it or not. However, this contract may not even let you watch it on a network. I'll explain more about that a little bit later on. Let's bring in the guys that are on the sports roundtable here today, and that being Bruce and our intern, Rob. Don Johnson will be joining us shortly. Good morning, guys. How you doing today?
Well, let's see. It's cloudy. It's cloudy. And it's cloudy. And then let's see. I didn't have my morning coffee. Let's see. Third, my allergies are killing me today. And fourth, I forgot my wallet for the first time since I've been born. But other than that, I got out of bed, so I got that going for me, which is nice.
Bruce, can you turn around? There's 4 squad cars in the parking lot that are coming after you.
Not likely to happen. They'll give me a break. I know them all anyway.
Rob, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Doing all right. Like I said, my voice is playing games for me a little bit from a big game last night.
A little bit. It's not too bad.
You know, it's one of those things when you're talking about big gyms, and we'll get to that a little later on, and big crowds, those things happen left and right. So, but let's talk about, guys, get to sports and talk about basketball this week with the Bulls. They went out to Paris. Bonjour. Anybody else know French?
No.
Oui, oui.
You don't know any French there at all?
Last time we took French was 5th grade.
You haven't had French since 5th grade? Is that what you're telling me?
They had to take it. 5th and 6th grade.
Oh, okay.
We got between French and Spanish.
Oh, you had an option?
Yeah, but I didn't take either.
Well,
we had to.
One thing that got my attention on this, a couple things actually, because I got a chance to catch the second half of the game because it was during the afternoon. The game started at 2 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And that was our time. You know, it was out, I think it's about 6-7 hours in Paris.
6 hours.
Is it 6 hours? Yeah, somewhere in that range. So it started 8 o'clock local time out in Paris.
It was kind of nice.
I'll tell you one thing. They got a good crowd, and a lot of people, they do know about basketball. They were showcasing this 7'1" guy. I forgot his name.
Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
He's taller than 7'1".
Well, that's what they listed him as, 7'1".
That's what they list him as, but Rudy Gobert's listed as like 7'3", and he's
but they always list him taller than they really
they're saying
no, but he's about 7'5".
They're saying this could be the next.
Well, yeah, basketball's reverse.
Yeah,
they always do it smaller than football's always larger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because Rudy Gobert's 7'3", but he's like 3 inches taller than Rudy Gobert.
You know what was interesting? Do you know how long you stood in line to get tickets for that game? People stood in line for 3 hours.
Really?
To get in.
Well, going back to the guy that you mentioned, he's supposed to be this big number 1 pick.
Oh yeah,
for the draft.
I watched,
and he's got talent.
No, he has. He's kind of like Kevin Durant when it comes to like his dribbling and his shooting. Very good ball skills, very good jump shot, and it's like very like technical. It's not like a Joakim Noah push. It's like, you know, he's got one hand on the other side of the ball, and he has a nice follow through. It's very, very good, and you can't defend it because you can't jump that high.
Right.
He has very good finishing ability. He has kind of a Rudy Gobert like paint defense. Obviously, he can rebound the ball really well. He can create his own shot, so he's not just reliant on the just catch and shoot kind of thing, sit in a corner. So, and he great like post moves and everything. Like, he's legit.
Mm-hmm. Now, the idea of going out to Paris, great idea. I like what the NBA is doing. It's something the Bulls haven't done in 25 years, 26 years. It's been a long time. I like the idea. However, one game, you know, fly out there, then fly back. You're taking, you know, really the whole week. And they only had one game the whole week, to be honest, too. It's a nice little business vacation, you can kind of say here. But I was thinking this, and I know I talked to Bruce before we started the show. You got to have more than one. You got to have it like a home and away. Kind of like what baseball does when they go to, like, Japan. Have it home and away.
Why?
For each team. Because I think one game just doesn't satisfy not only the fans, but what you're trying to do there.
I think it does. I think it makes it more popular because they all want to get to that one game, and they'll come back another time. But you do two, now it starts to get, you know, if you're, especially for an area that's not used to NBA basketball, you don't want to give them too much. You want to keep them interested.
They mark that day on their calendar.
Sure they do.
But
if there's 2 days, it's kind of like, well, you know.
I can miss the first one.
Yeah, you don't want them to do that. You want them to really be hungry for it.
You're going to be like, okay, well, I'm canceling everything that day. Right. I'm watching this game.
It's a good marketing thing to have one game.
Mm-hmm. One thing I did like, and we'll talk about the Bulls themselves in a minute, is that they panned on a young lady. And she had to be, I don't know, maybe 11, 12 years old. And it didn't look like she knew anything about basketball at all. I probably knew more about football or soccer out there because that's always popular anywhere in Europe. But she's sitting there imitating the ball players. She's sitting there trying to shoot the basketball, and I thought it was really cool. Just to get that childhood look, young kid. Hey, I want to play basketball. And it was kind of cool how the camera caught this. Well, it also caught the eye of Zach LaVine, too. Because at the end of the game, he saw the same thing we did on TV. He walked over and handed his shoes that he wore in the game to her. And I thought that was a great, great moment.
It's good publicity for the NBA overall, or something like that. It's good publicity for him, especially in Chicago, because he needs a little bit of it right now. Mm-hmm. But I thought it was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Now, the game itself, the Bulls, by the way, have beaten Detroit with this game, I think, 13 in a row, which I didn't realize they'd beaten them that many times.
Oh, yeah, Detroit's been bad for a while.
Well, yeah, but Detroit's been under 500. They haven't been that good. And by the way, the Bulls haven't played well against teams that are under 500 to begin with.
And that's up for debate because I mentioned to Rusty before the show, I thought this was probably one of the best games the Bulls have played all year because they beat somebody they were supposed to beat, and they beat them in all four quarters.
Mm-hmm. Well, they beat them from start to finish.
Start to finish. And they haven't done that all year.
And the best part, too, was that DeMar DeRozan was back.
Helped.
And you got some pretty good scoring from Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Vukovic. A lot of the players just stepped in.
They still have one big problem, and I don't know why it's not addressed. They're not taking enough three-point shots. And the ones they do, statistically, are not taking in the proper spots. So LaVine's taking three-point shots from spots that he technically isn't good at. Why aren't you taking these in areas that you are great at? Look at Vooch. You get him in the corner on a three-pointer, it's 42%. That's the kind of thing you need to be doing. Wherever you are best at, you need to get to that spot. But that's just why they come up with 24, 26% three-point shooting. You're not going to beat great teams with three-point shooting like that.
Mm-hmm. Now, Vuk did have a big game earlier in the week. He had like a 43-point night.
He's playing really well.
And I was really surprised to see that number. I don't know if he's ever had a game that high in his career, but I was like, where did this come from, to be honest? I know that DeMar DeRozan was out. You needed some more scoring. And if you get really Zach LaVine, you get Vuk, and you get DeRozan scoring a lot of points, you should come away with a win.
Well, he said in an interview after the game, that after that game, the 43-point game, he says, I'm getting to spots that I need to get to. Well, why haven't you been getting to those spots earlier than just this game? Apparently, if he gets to where he wants to be, this is what you're going to get 30 points from him. But I don't know what it is the Bulls are doing that is not allowing him to get there, or teams are not allowing him to get there, but they need to figure that out.
Mostly at the start of the season, we've seen Vuk go into the basket more instead of taking the threes. That has changed.
Well, that's a bad idea for him because if DeRozan's on the floor, there's no defense.
Well, the thing is, you need someone who can rebound. And that was the big key that the Bulls needed to show who's going to be rebounding the basketball this year.
Yeah, well,
so that's why they sent him near the basket.
Well, you leave that to guys like Drummond. He's going to be a machine under there. Putting Vuk driving the basket is just putting he and DeRozan are not going to get back. And that's a fast break the other way. I'm confused, which is why they're 3 games under 500. They're confused. I think they're running out of time as to what's going to become of this team.
I don't know if that's confusing, though. They've already gotten through half their schedule. You've got about another 38, 40 games to go, and they do have one of the easier schedules.
You don't think
down the stretch,
losing to under 500 teams and beating teams like Milwaukee and Boston is not confusing? Confuses the heck out of me.
They're ready for the big time.
I just think we're not too far away from the trade deadline. What is that? February 8th?
Mm-hmm.
I see trades. I just don't think they're going to be a championship team the way they are.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's true. You just don't know. You don't know what they're going to do at this point. I don't believe that they're going to make a big trade. I really don't see that. I don't see that big trade happening at this point. I just don't think so. Now, I will say this. I saw something really, really outrageous on social media this week. Okay, they threw out there that the Lakers want to make a trade with the Bulls and send LeBron James over here. And I'm like, what? For Zach LaVine and a couple players for the Bulls. I just don't see that. Well, actually, I stand correct. It wasn't Zach LaVine. It was DeMar DeRozan. So that means you can get LeBron and actually Zach playing with each other. Because that's been rumored. You've heard that before. That's been rumored.
I've heard that before on the Lakers side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think these rumors are coming out in L.A. more than here, but
I don't think that helps either side, to be honest with you.
Oh, I don't see it either. I don't see that happening.
Because Lakers need some defense.
Mm-hmm.
And they need 3-point shooting. DeMar doesn't really give you that 3-point shooting, and he doesn't really give you the defense. And the Bulls are looking toward the future, and you can't really look toward the future with LeBron that much.
You have to ask yourself, is this team ever going to win a championship or even get into the top 6? The answer to that is probably no. So why are you just going to continue to march down this path?
The key lies on Lonzo Ball, but Lonzo Ball isn't there yet.
Even if you guys have Lonzo Ball, in my opinion,
you're better.
That's why I feel like we've gone back to the problems we had for the last decade with the Bulls, because either you're going to go down and get that draft pick and be nothing, or you're just going to get to the edge of the playoffs. You need something more to get to the upper echelon of the conference.
I've heard it mentioned. This is a group of pretty good players. The problem is they don't play well together. And that's a key to any big team.
They don't play defense, but then again, there is no defense.
Well, they don't play well together.
I think they've improved a little bit on their defense.
It's Don. Hello, Don.
Yeah. Good morning. I think they've improved on their defense, to be honest with you. The Bulls have. And they've actually improved on the way they've played as a team on defense. There's no doubt in my mind. Watching that rub off on players like Ayodasumu, going back, case in point, when they were playing Kevin Durant. I remember Ayodasumu coming down the court, running in behind Durant and blocking his shot while two Bulls were in front of him. A year ago, I never would have seen that play happen. But we saw that happen, and it happened recently, and it was good team defense that actually created turnovers and offensive opportunities. We know this team can play offense. They have a lot of guys on this team that can shoot the basketball. That's not the issue. It's defense. It's rebounding and defending the other teams, which we don't see a lot
Second chance
in the league, period. not just with the Bulls. There's not a lot of defense being played in the NBA right now.
Don, you were mentioning the fact they're playing better defense, and we were talking about the fact that Vooch is not driving to the basket as much, but he's getting to his spots that he claims are best for him, like 3-pointers in the corner, and him not going to the basket is helping the defense end.
We had the discussion before. I think what he's done is become a little bit smarter about who's on the floor and what the spacing is and what they do well. DeMar DeRozan drives to the basket. He's the best at doing it. Then I'll put Zach behind him because DeMar just has the little playground shots that you can't teach in traffic. So if you got two guys going to the basket, you can't have a third guy, especially if he's your post player. He can't be the guy driving the ball to the basket. He's got to lay to the side, wait for the drop off, or wait for the double team when they kick the ball to him and get a simple shot. So I think I think Luke has adjusted his play too.
Yeah,
I believe that he has.
And that was the thing we talked about. Was he said in an interview afterwards, "I'm getting to the spots I need to be." So why is it taking all the way until January for you to get your spots that you want to be in? I don't know what the answer is to that.
Well, I think, like you said, we saw the top players council, sort of, that would be DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine. They kind of had a little council meeting together because, you can count the shots, right? There's about 70 shots between those two guys, and that doesn't leave a lot of shots for everybody else.
Well, Zach is jumpy again.
Yeah.
V looks healthy.
Yeah.
He's very jumpy, and that's helped a lot. But the bottom line still, Don, is this a top 6 team? And the answer to that is probably no.
All right, Bulls right now are sitting in that number 10 spot for the playing game at the moment. They will play the Hawks coming up on Monday. That's their next game after coming back from this road trip. The Milwaukee Bucks, by the way, are in a big little duel here between the Celtics and the 76ers. Nice little battle. It's a three-way battle right now. However, I saw the Bucks lose a couple games this week, but they've been sitting some players down. You got some nagging injuries with the Bucks here right now. They're going to be in Cleveland. Here's another team that's played really well this year. Donovan Mitchell's been something else. I mean, outside of a game against the Bulls where he had to 71 and that crazy game that was in overtime. But you got to wonder, though, what Milwaukee is doing. I know it's that rest players and throw away a game or two here and there, and they want to be ready for the last, 15, 20 games to get ready for the playoffs in the postseason. But when they do put everybody on the floor, do the Bucks have something more than the Boston Celtics have? I know Tatum had a big game the other night, too. I saw that. What did he have, 50-something points? He's been looking pretty good. I mean, Boston's got a nice core of players. Outside of the coaching issue that they had in the offseason, they're playing well. And you got the 76ers playing well when Joel Embiid is on the court. So if you're looking at it now, okay, we're about 40, like I said, 42 games in. What do they have, the Bucks? Do they have enough to go the distance this year in the Eastern Conference?
100%. They have Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's really all you need. The Celtics don't have him. So I think so. And the 76ers, in my opinion, they're kind of like the Dallas Cowboys of the NBA. They get to the playoffs, they're really good in the regular season, but they just don't finish.
Wow.
They have the talent.
Taking a shot at his own team, I kind of that.
But they are.
Yeah, but the Bucks do have things. I'm talking
about the Celtics. The 76ers, they have talent.
Yeah, 76, I don't know.
But they don't finish.
Yeah, true. But they don't know how to
have talent, too.
What's that?
The Bulls have talent, too, but they don't play well together.
Yeah, they just don't play well together. I'm saying they do good in the regular season. They get to around around the Eastern. I don't know if they've ever been to the Eastern Conference Finals, Joel Embiid, but they get around there and they just don't know how to finish. That's how the 76ers are. It's going to be between the Boston Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks, and I got the Milwaukee Bucks. They almost beat them last year without Chris Middleton, so I'm going to take them again this year.
I think 76ers still, like you said, they have yet to prove anything. Celtics have already proved what they are. And also, if we're talking about Milwaukee Bucks, they've proven who they are. So we're not guessing about what their identity is. Philadelphia, we still don't know what their identity is. We know Joel Embiid is one of the best center.
He's a dog.
Yeah, but it's what you have complementing that. Once if he has a bad game, if he gets in foul trouble, what do you have to counter that? Because we know teams like Milwaukee and Boston play good defense. So that's the thing that you look at. Can you stop the other team?
Not only that, James Harden cannot perform in the regular season or the postseason.
Well, he hasn't, not recently.
He just can't do it.
He hasn't, not recently. It's not that he's not capable, but he hasn't.
Well, he has the talent. It's just that he needs to show us. And I'm going to keep saying that he can't perform until he shows me that he can.
Well, I think that's I don't know what it is. It's psychological. There's a whole lot of things that health. He's on the downside of his career, really. Yeah. And the other part of that is that you got to be able to get in where you fit in, and so he's got to know what his role is. He's got to have a definitive role. It can't be like guesswork. You got to know your identity when you come to the half court game and you get down to the last seconds of the shot. Who's taking the shot? Where the floor spacing is going to be, how you're going to play off Joel Embiid if he gets the ball in low block. How you playing off that?
Right. All right, guys, let's get over to football. I do want to bring up a topic here with the Bears. Kevin Warren has stepped up and he's taken over the president role, which there was a little more push saying they're getting things organized, getting things ready to take the next steps for the Arlington site. There's a long way to go, though, and I agree with that, how they handled the situation, because there is a long way to go. There's a lot of factors that go involved. I do like what Kevin Warren said, though, when he got himself in front of the microphone, got himself in front of the media. He's been through this before. He's done it in Minnesota, so he knows what it's going to take to build a facility on the Arlington Heights or Arlington Park site. It's going to take a lot of work. And we will not know exactly when they're going to break ground. It could be maybe early next year. It could be a little ways off. But I will give him credit for taking on this role, being the president of the Bears. Not an easy one to do, but it seems like a smart move by the Bears, how they're handling this situation as they move forward.
It seems to me that the Bears have made a lot of good, sound decisions outside of the media. The media doesn't realize it. This was already in the works. And if you look at how it's shaping up, they got the man they wanted because he's built 2 stadiums, okay? He's not new to the game of the NFL. Obviously, he's been with 2 other NFL teams. He was with Minnesota and in an administrative capacity the same way. So he's got a lot of legs when it comes to that. And I believe that's why they brought him in, because he's going to be the closer on the stadium. And there's no doubt in my mind. And I think they're further along than they're letting people know. I think that's why they brought him in. The McCaskies, they're not new to the game. They get it. And when they bring in a guy like Warren, he's a quantum change to the philosophy of what the Bears have been in terms of identity, any way you want to look at it. That's a new thing. Ryan Poles, that's a new thing. That's not what we've seen in the past Bears. If we talk about the history of the Bears, the way the franchise is, people a lot of times they kidded and said they didn't spend a lot of money. They've been called cheap at times, right? Well, I can't accuse them of this time. They're bringing in fresh blood. They made some good moves. They got a new coach. They did spend money on a quarterback and a draft choice. All the things that we criticized them for, they've done that. Okay?
Mm-hmm. 2 things have happened. The Bears have become a big boy team for the first time in a very long time.
What do you mean by that?
The whole structure of the team is more similar now to the rest of the NFL, where it's not a few people at the top running the show. The McCaskies have turned over the keys. Okay. And they've become a big boy team now.
Okay, now when you say that, I get it.
And second, if there was any question on Arlington, that was answered.
Yeah.
They don't hire Warren unless Arlington's being done.
You know it. It's already done.
It's done.
All right. Hey, guys, last week's games, I know we don't have too much time to spend on it because we got to pick this week's games. Very entertaining, I must admit. For a wild card weekend, a lot of scoring, a lot of surprises. Mostly you expected the teams that won did. I'm a little surprised big time on what Jacksonville did to the Chargers. Chargers laid an egg, to be honest, and obviously the coaching took the hit on it after that game. There were some coaches that took a hit. But I will say this, that from the weekend standpoint, if you were a football fan, you enjoyed what was in front of you on TV.
I saw, you're not going to believe this, I watched 18 hours of football Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Mm-hmm. I don't remember the last time I've ever done that. It was, I enjoyed it from top to bottom.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was good football. I think sometimes as fans or people that are listening or that are, watching the games, sometimes we forget that it's not about what one projects the team to do, it's what they've done. And in the case, to me, of San Diego, they haven't done anything. When have they done anything? When they've talked about how great this quarterback is, and certainly I'm a big fan of his. When he came into his first year and did what he did under duress the way he did it, I was his biggest fan. But the team itself hasn't done anything. And so you can say all you want. You can project all you want. But the same people show up when you get to the playoffs, and the same caliber of quarterback and the same caliber of defenses show up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a big comeback by the Chargers. They said it was the biggest blown lead in franchise history in that game in postseason play. And the Chargers did come out and say that Brandon Staley's job is safe for the Chargers. And let's not also forget...
Do you believe that?
Potentially, because I feel like Payne might go elsewhere. And let's not also forget for Rob, on Monday night, Brett Maher, the Dallas Cowboys kicker, made NFL history with 4 missed extra points in a row.
Well, it's funny you bring that up because we haven't gotten there yet. But it's funny you bring that up because not only did that happen, but Tom Brady didn't really show up in the first place on this. But give credit to Dallas because they have never beaten Tampa Bay. So you got to give credit.
You guys are saying it from the negative. To me, the most important thing that happened in the game was Dak showed up.
Yep.
And Dak kicked their behinds.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can say whatever they want. He kicked their behinds.
But
he
the thing
answered the call.
But the thing is, as Carson alludes to, the kicker, it's a no-brainer. It didn't mean anything. They won the game. And that's why I don't understand why the media is picking on it. And the coach,
he could have made even more history and missed the last one, too.
He's going to be back out there. Why would you do anything?
So what? The yips go away. They go away just
if
as
I'm
easy
them,
as
I get another kicker.
They did get another kicker, but Brett Maher went 6 for 6 the last 2 days.
Yeah, but you want to know something?
They just did it just in case, for competition.
But that's in practice.
Yeah,
practice ain't the game. Guys, you saw.
Oh yeah.
Hey, kickers are like shuffling cards. You never know what you're going to get.
Hey, guys, the only thing is, if it's a close game where it comes down to where those points matter, that's when you worry about.
You're not going to feel comfortable. I know I wouldn't.
Yeah,
I was yelling at the TV set. I said, just go for 2.
So did that.
The guy has problems. He's having a tough day. We all have tough days. I get that. So I'm not beating up on him when he's down. But when you see that as a coach, you have to shift gears.
Well, I think what they take into consideration that we don't know is what's the aura between the coach and the kicker when things like that happen. Maybe the coach says, "Hey, look, I'm not worried about it. Okay, just get out there."
He's worried about it. He was worried about his job going into the game. He and Dak were under the greatest pressure you could be under. Jerry Jones was not going to accept a loss this time.
No,
there was a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I mean,
and maybe he felt that.
Yeah, Brett Maher was 50 for 53 going into the game.
Yeah.
So
he melted under pressure.
Yeah. So I don't know what happened with him.
Well, we know he didn't kick those field goals.
Let's go through the picks here this weekend, guys. If we can, we got to get running on this. This is a divisional round. Some good matchups, some interesting matchups. By the way, Trevor Lawrence is very good on Saturdays. Oh, they're playing today.
37-0. That ends to that.
Don't mean a hill of beans.
Now they're playing
in the NFL right now.
Jacksonville is playing today in Kansas City, where it's supposed to snow. So Jacksonville's not used to weather conditions like that. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is used to that as well, because he played in a warm weather climate back in his college days. But Kansas City is Kansas City. The Chiefs are good. So is Patrick Mahomes.
And they're proven.
Yeah, they're definitely proven. They're playing very well right now at home. I'm just going to throw this out. I don't even think Jacksonville will have a chance in this game. They're not going to make any comeback. Kansas City will roll in this game. Weather could play a role, keep the score down a little bit, but I got a feeling Kansas City should win this game rather easily. I'm going that way. Bruce?
As a former player, does the temperature really matter that much when you're on the field?
After the game gets going, no.
That's what I thought.
Psychologically, you may think about what you can do to make yourself feel comfortable while the game's going on. But once adrenaline gets going and you're focused on your assignment, you don't even feel the cold. The only time you feel it is when you're standing on the sideline, and then you have to keep yourself warm. But in the NFL, that doesn't mean anything, because they all have heated benches and heated gloves and heated socks and everything.
The 37-0 on Saturday dies in this game. You have to go with Kansas City.
Bruce, Don?
I really like the way that Trevor Lawrence is playing. I think he's playing good ball. I'm really impressed with him. I think they can challenge Kansas City, but I don't see them beating Kansas City, because I just think Mahomes is spreading the ball around. It's tough to defend a team when you don't know where it's coming from. And they fool you with formations. Their weakness is really their defense, which could be a problem if he comes out and gets hot. The Jacksonville quarterback.
Carson?
I think Jacksonville is going to cover the 9-point spread. However, Kansas City's going to win. By the way, I don't know if you guys realize this, Mahomes has never played away from Arrowhead in the postseason. Oh. And he's trying to seek his 5th straight AFC Championship game. That's crazy. I think Jacksonville's going to hang
around.
That's
waiting list, though.
Yeah. All right.
Jacksonville.
What?
Here's the thing. I don't think that their offense played fantastic in the second half. I don't think that they can start any worse than they did last week. They can't. Four first half interceptions. If they don't throw any interceptions, they put up 50.
Let me.
I think it's the king versus the prince.
Interceptions.
Let me toss this ball in there.
Yeah.
If Mahomes is on the other side and he throws 4 interceptions, the game will be 50-0 at halftime.
One thing that Jacksonville has that the Chiefs don't is a really, really good running back. I think they can control the time of possession. I think they can keep the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands, and I think Trevor Lawrence, with the ball in his hands, can get the job done.
That's a good strategy, but I think you're right. That's the best way they can win.
And I think they have a better defense.
Best opportunity. They have a good front.
Best way they can stay close.
They have a good front, but I don't know if
the
they
only
can
thing
defend.
is to add to this is that Kansas City is not the Chargers, and that's the difference.
Yeah, they're
They got
not.
better coaching. So let's go on to our next game,
More
which
weapons.
is the other team that's leading on the NFC side. The Philadelphia Eagles will be hosting against the Giants. As I said this last week, Giants and Minnesota, they're not great teams. Neither one of them coming into the playoffs. And okay, the Giants got by, but Philadelphia, if that week off helps them to get healthier, this should be a no-brainer. This should be pretty easy for the Eagles to get by. I'm going Philadelphia in this case. Carson?
Well, I think the Giants' defense is going to keep it close, and I think they'll also cover the 7.5-point spread. I think the key difference is I don't think they're going to be able to keep up with Devontae Smith and the Jalen Hurts connection. Give me fly, Eagles, fly.
All right, Rob?
I think it's going to be a really close game, too. It all comes down to Saquon Barkley, but I think the Eagles will win it.
Who wants to go with the Eagles? Don?
I think there's going to be some ring rust with the quarterback because when you don't take snaps and you don't play live action, it's different. Tempo's different. Obviously, he's still somewhat injured, so I don't feel comfortable with that because there's always a timing issue. Quarterback and running backs, quarterbacks, all about timing, throwing the ball, handing it off, subtleties, right? The other thing is, too, on the other side, Daniel Jones is playing well. I think he's the wild card, not Saquon Barkley. We know what we get with Saquon Barkley. Daniel Jones is a monster. He is playing about as well as he's ever played. He's running the ball well. He's throwing the ball well. Can they beat Philly? I don't think so. Philly's defense is really tough. They're going to put the pressure on him, and he won't be able to make those runs against Philly.
All right, pressure's on Bruce.
Philadelphia.
No pressure. He's out of the pocket. He's got the pass completed, touchdown. All right, on to Sunday's game. Cincinnati at Buffalo. Rematch from the game that never was completed because of what happened to DeMar Hamlin. And I'm sure it's going to have some likelihood of emotions when they start the game here. But I think both teams know what's at stake in a game like this, to be truthfully honest. I think they know that they want to move on to probably go against Kansas City or Jacksonville, throw that in the mix. But this is going to be a big game. It's in Buffalo. I'm going to start out with Rob here.
I'm going to go Bengals here. I trust the Bengals a lot more right now. I trust Joe Burrow more than I trust Josh Allen with the football. And I would like to see an LSU versus Clemson quarterback head-to-head in the AFC Championship game.
Bruce.
This is a scary game. Anything can happen.
Halloween was a couple months ago, but okay.
I'm shivering over here.
Oh, man.
There's no snow in the forecast that I know of.
Listen, Rob knows this. He said I was a Buffalo guy at the beginning of the year. I can't go against that now. I think it's either going to be really, really close or it's going to be a blowout. I don't think there's anything in between. You got to go with Buffalo.
Don?
I trust Joe Burrow more than I trust the way that the Buffalo quarterback is playing because he throws into coverage and he makes mistakes. He's still unproven. That's what I say. He's unproven. Josh is a great athlete, but he's unproven. And where he's weak is when he throws into coverage. And Buffalo is going to face one of the best wide receiver cores and a great quarterback who's instinctive. I just give the edge to Cincinnati and Joe Burrow. He's just playing better.
Carson?
I didn't like how Cincinnati was playing last week against Baltimore, a Baltimore team, even without Lamar Jackson, really seemed to struggle on the defensive end. I think even though the game was close, Buffalo seemed like a somewhat dominant team last week. My Super Bowl pick was the Bills, so I'm going Bills Mafia.
All right. I'll tell you the truth. This could be a good defensive battle between the two. The difference might be on the turnovers that create the short fields.
Boy,
but something tells me, though, being in Buffalo has a lot different than being in Cincinnati here. So having home field advantage could mean a lot. And with Hamlin around, there's a lot more going in the emotions, the heart. I got to go with Buffalo in this. I think Buffalo's going to pull this out. They may even win this game by 10 or 14 points before it's over.
Could it make them? Let me pose this question. Could it make them too high, though? Mm-hmm. The Hamlin thing. Buffalo.
Right. The final game on the list is, what do we got here? Dallas on the road in San Francisco. I'm hearing rumors that Garoppolo might be starting. I don't know if I like that move.
No way.
I read something yesterday.
Yeah, not the way Brock Purdy's been playing.
Oh, I know. What I said.
He's playing better than Jimmy.
That's what I said at the start of this.
Better than all three.
That's what I said at the start of the playoffs. You have to go with the hot quarterback. You can't change at midstream. There's no way to do it.
There's no way.
But I want to go with Rob on this because he's the Cowboy fan.
I mean, personally, I think the Niners will win this game. They just have the best defense. Although I do question them a little bit when they've played 2 top 10 defenses and 2 top 10 offenses this year. What happens when they get a top 3 offense?
And where's their weakness, Rob? Tell me where their weakness is.
The weakness?
Yeah, on defense.
On defense, they don't really have much of a weakness.
They're secondary. Exactly.
But the thing is they're able to drop their linebackers back and drop their safeties back because their pass rush is so good. That's what scares me.
That's true.
And they're able to have 4 people up front while stopping the run.
Are you taking the Cowboys?
No, I told you. I'm taking the Niners.
You're going the Niners.
Well, I mean, I'm going to talk realistic.
I'm surprised on this one. Don?
You know, like Rob said, I agree that on paper, to me, the Niners have a little bit more than Dallas because of their defense. And they're going to put the pressure on Dak. Dak is not going to be able to stand in the rocking chair and just throw the football. And you're going to have to run a little bit to offset how much you're going to have to throw. Because he's going to have to throw to beat him. But I think their weakness is in their secondary. So, you know, this is a tough one. I feel like the Niners are a better football team. I just do. I think if Dak has a chance to win, he's got to have another perfect game, and I don't know if he can do 2 in a row.
Carson?
I think the receiving core of the Niners is too good with Kittle, Jennings, Deebo Samuel. And like you said, the defense, they had 4 interceptions on Geno Smith last week. I'm going Niners at home.
All right, Bruce?
I'm going to base this on one thing and one thing only. Are we far enough into the playoffs now where the pressure starts to get to a number 262 pick?
I like that thought. Not just him, but we're not even talking about the guy that's going to put the pressure on him.
Right.
Who is that?
That's Micah.
Is
Micah Parsons, right?
Yeah. Is this the
Purdy
time
ain't
where
seen Micah Parsons?
Is this the time where the pressure finally gets to the 262? I don't think it's quite yet.
But
also, Dak's hungry.
I will take San Francisco, but with the caveat that, you know,
I wouldn't be shocked.
But the teams that have been successful against Micah have run the football right at him. That's how they isolate him.
It will be because
they don't
Purdy
block
does
him.
not play well.
So that I mean, they can do that.
This game will come down to the final possession.
It could.
But here's what happens before the final possession. Rob's going to hate me for this because the 49ers will get a fumble in their lap. Or a turnover with an interception because Dallas gets a brain cramp somewhere. I hate to say it. San Francisco wins this game on their last possession. That'll do it.
I should have taken
I don't know.
Dallas.
See, that's where I think the problem would come in. Because if it's a close game at this point and Purdy, the pressure's really on him, this is where he could make the mistake.
Exactly. And Dallas is coming off a game where they got over the hump. They beat a team that they never beat before.
All right, speaking of getting over the humps, what is going on with the NCAA basketball? Because there's too many upsets. What does that mean for the Big Dance?
It's bad basketball.
We need to hit the break. We'll come back, figure this out. And I hate to say COVID is making an appearance. Back right after this here on WRLR.
WRLR 98.3 FM.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. Maybe you're not sure how you'll make rent, or you lost your job. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light. Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need.
211, how can I help you?
Call or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected. Get help. A message from United Way and the Ad Council.
Hey everyone, it's Norm. And every Tuesday afternoon, 3 to 5 Central, I'm coming right at you here on WRLR. Let's share some information. Have lots of fun. We'll play plenty of music as we finish the business day in the office or take the drive home. Stream the net, WRLR.fm. 98.3 FM is the voice of Lake County on the radio dial. Join Norm Tuesdays, 3 to 5, right here on WRLR.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
WRLR 98.3 FM.
Welcome back to the Sports Corner with the Sports Guys for a Saturday morning. 26 degrees under cloudy skies, which seems to be the norm these days, which we don't see sunshine anywhere. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take out some flashlights, flash it around the room. Maybe that's my sunshine for the day. There is a chance for some snow tonight. I'm not too excited about it. I don't know. What are you pointing there? An inch?
1 inch.
I'm not even looking at that much of dusting.
It could be heavier south.
If we get that much, it's going to be more south than north. I'm not big on this.
I think we got to open the closet and pull out those WRLR sleighs. Be ready.
Yeah. Actually, we will be staying around that 32-degree mark for the next couple days, maybe a few degrees warmer. Something to keep an eye on for Wednesday.
Forget it.
Bruce is pushing it off already.
I'm pushing it south a lot.
Really?
Yeah,
Thank you, Bruce.
So?
It's a little early, I know, to make that, but it looks like it's going to be.
I'm gonna say this right now. I'm waiting till like Tuesday before we get a thought.
I think the cold weather gets here before that storm, and that will keep it south.
That might be something to think about because it is going to get colder. By the way, highs may be around 20 by the end of the week. Yeah. Keep that in mind.
That's warm.
It is January.
Yeah, well, we've been above normal pretty good over the last month, believe it or not.
Yeah, like 13 degrees worth.
You can never avoid February.
Abby normal.
By the way, what's not normal in college sports right now, we're starting to hear a little bit about COVID. Last week we mentioned about the, DePaul was supposed to play Connecticut, and Connecticut canceled out their games because of COVID. Now Northwestern's got a bug going on with their team where they've had to cancel 2 games now, which including the one here today against Wisconsin. And the rule, help me on this, Carson, if you don't have 7 healthy people or bodies or players, you can't play the game. If it's 6 or less, then they cancel it for COVID.
Yeah, Northwestern was supposed to play Iowa on Wednesday, and that was supposed to be the 20-year anniversary of Iowa legend Chris Street's death. I don't know if you remember him, Don. Chris Street of 93, Tom Davis. But Iowa fans were kind of up in arms a little bit because the Big Ten rules is supposed to be a cancellation, not a postponement. And now Northwestern's game against Wisconsin's weekend got postponed as well.
It rescheduled.
Yeah. So the Iowa Northwestern game is rescheduled for the tail end of the month for the 31st in Iowa City.
Mm-hmm. Well, the only thing gets to my mind on this, Carson, we haven't had a problem. We haven't seen it in any other sports where COVID has stepped up. Now all of a sudden we're seeing something here, and I get a little bit of that caution flag coming up here. Do we get worried that maybe more games might be postponed in the near future around the country? Is that possible?
Maybe, but it seems like an outlier because, like you said, it hasn't happened too much. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's just that time of the year. So.
Is it that it hasn't happened, or is it not being reported? That's more than I think the case.
That's a good point.
Yeah, because we're talking about variants here, and they're not telling us all the variants that are out there because we know there are variants out there. And everyone's, trying to do, the game plan. Get your vaccine, get your shots.
There are variants of flu out there right now that are worse than COVID.
Wear your mask. Wear the mask is a good thing, folks. If you got your mask, keep wearing it.
Or those KN95s. The other ones aren't as effective.
Mm-hmm. Now, these upsets are unbelievable. What was it last night? I caught one after we got back from the game. What was it? Gonzaga got beat by Loyola Marymount, but it seems like...
But isn't that typical for January?
No. We've seen a lot of upsets from the start of the season, in December, and even now in January. And I had this conversation with Carson. What does this do? Sure, the committee hasn't really started to formulate things. You're still weeks away, or month. What is it about? I would say the end of months and change before the conference tournaments. But
mid-March.
How much does upsets mean to the committee when they sit down and start looking at the body of teams?
Well, here's what it is. If you're a bubble team, you look at that win down the road. Let's say you beat a top 10 team in January. How good is that top team really down in March when they can get into meet their schedule? Because anyone can beat a preseason whatever, So, but it's really how good that win actually is down the road. And yeah, it's more for like the bubble teams, like Northwestern, for example, that kind of need that resume. If you're, let's say, Purdue or whatever, you don't gotta sweat it or anything. So.
Yeah, and who's getting the invitation to the big dinner? Mm-hmm. The teams that represent the conferences where the money is, right? That's not new. It's going to happen again the same way. So the people that rely on that, in answer to your question, Rusty, and the way you said it, teams on the bubble.
Yeah.
That are not represented by conferences necessarily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the at-larges, too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, we've seen it, like, for example, let's go to the Big Ten. I mean, everybody is beating everybody. There's no outstanding team. I keep thinking one week it's Purdue, next week it's Indiana, maybe Northwestern showing up. Illinois gets a few wins and they drop. Michigan State looks like they're coming back. I mean, I can keep going down the line. There's so many teams you think might be the front runner, and somebody finds a way to beat them, and you're like, who's the best team?
Yeah, but I've always said college basketball is iffy until you get to mid-February, where you start aligning who's what.
Well, we kind of talked about this a little bit. With basketball, you're on the road. Sometimes you'll play 3 games in a week. You're talking about being away from campus. You don't eat the same. You have to study while you're on the road. So you're talking about college kids. How old are they? 19, 20, 21?
Yeah.
So that's why you have that factor there when during the year. And I would say that's a big deal.
I think you got to give the nod to Purdue at this time. They won at Michigan State Monday, and then they also pounded Minnesota 61-39. So I give the edge to Purdue. And talk about upsets, Rusty. Yeah, Michigan State upsetting 23 Rutgers in solid fashion. So if I was analyzing the Big Ten, I'd say the top 3 in the Big Ten in this order is Purdue, Michigan State, Rutgers, and everybody else.
And that is old news in terms of the Big Ten beating up on each other in conference play. They've been doing that forever because it's the style. Right. It's a physical style of basketball.
But sometimes it punishes them in March Madness when they play the Pac-12 run-and-gun teams because
it does.
Big Ten likes to slow it down, pound you, and then sometimes they can't keep up
with the running
pace,
team. Yeah.
See, I think the Rutgers game is not as what happened is not as important on January 21st as it would be at February 21st.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Now,
I would agree with you.
Some other big news this week: Mike Bray stepping down after 23 seasons at Notre Dame. I caught that the other day, Carson. How big of a story is that?
I think that's a big one. Notre Dame, remember last year they had to play in to get into the tournament. They did win a couple games. I'm curious who they land there. And also, Rusty, did you? I think I sent this to you. Did you also notice on the football side? Did you see that the Michigan co-offensive coordinator Matt Weiss got fired because of some internet scandal that he had too? What he was doing on the internet. So Jim Harbaugh is going to have to find a new co-offensive coordinator there as well.
Yeah, he's probably calling the plays anyway, Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah,
he's a pretty hands-on guy.
Yeah, but these are big stories, and I hate to say it. Still Michigan. There's some fallout from the big game, so that's why we're hearing something like that.
The fallout was they weren't sure that he was going to return. He was showing signs that he wanted to be a coach in the NFL, and those teams kind of rejected him. Now he's going back to.
But now he told Michigan that he's coming back.
However, did he, or is somebody else running that little line of story?
I think it's speculation.
No, I don't think it's speculation. It'd be speculation if it wasn't Jim Harbaugh. But Jim Harbaugh is an experienced coach who's coached on all the levels, NFL included, and he's a quarterback too. So, I mean, he already thinks in a certain way.
Luckily, the Michigan president, Anthony D., said that Harbaugh informed them that he will be coming back, so he wants to run it back.
Yeah. After the NFL teams rejected him.
Rusty, do you want to do the Illinois records, or do you want to?
Yeah, go ahead. Let's go for it while we're on it.
All right, so our overall record right now is barely over 500, 116 and 115. Conference record, though, not so pretty, 37 and 46.
Eek.
And here's the games. Loyola still winless in Atlantic 10 play. They play at St. Bonaventure today at 3:30. As I mentioned, Northwestern game today canceled due to COVID. Next game will be at Nebraska on Tuesday, and that's a tough place to play. They just beat Ohio State. The Illini coming off that pounding loss to Indiana, 80-65. They'll be taking on the Buckeyes at home on Tuesday, and then Chicago State. They don't play until next Saturday. Northern Illinois 6-12. They'll be at Eastern Michigan today at 2:30. Southern Illinois, first place team in the Missouri Valley. They'll be at Missouri State, and surprisingly, Vegas is saying that Missouri State's the favorite. So I guess they're projecting an upset there.
Shout out to my boy Lance Jones, man, from Evanston. Top guard. He won top guard honors. Yep.
Good point. Bradley, 13-7. They're looking well, too. They'll be playing Illinois State on Wednesday. The Redbirds, they'll be taking Valparaiso at 6 p.m. ESPN 3, UIC. Couple games below 500. They got a tough battle versus the Northern Iowa Panthers today at 1. SIUE, the first place team in the Ohio Valley today. They'll be taking on a good Southern Indiana team at 3:30. Then Eastern Illinois struggling. They'll be at UT Martin today at 3:30. And then DePaul, they got a tough battle too at number 22 Providence at 1 p.m.
Did they just have a big win?
Yeah, they had a big win over Xavier this week.
Yeah, that right. So they're one of a few upsets that happened this week. And then let's go.
Wait, hold on a second. Before you talk about that, getting that upset, I'm hoping, and how many times we've talked over the years, DePaul always has a good, start before they hit the conference schedule. They never have done good in the Big East. Maybe they finally found their way to win more games in the Big East this year. Keep our fingers crossed on
this. I doubt they'll make March Madness, though. Overall record for the ladies, 101 and 94, but they're below 500 in conference play, 36 and 39. The hot team right now is the Illini. Even though they just lost to number 6 Indiana on Wednesday, they'll be at Northwestern, who unfortunately, Don, has not won a game in conference play, 0-8.
And that's unusual, because Northwestern's usually fairly good in basketball.
So yeah, on the women's side. The better teams are also Illinois State. They're tied for first in the Missouri Valley. And there's a big women's game that I'm excited for on Monday. That is going to be between Ohio State, who's undefeated, 19-0, taking on my alma mater, number 10, Iowa, and Caitlin Clark, the best women's basketball player in the country. That'll be
one of them.
No, it's definitive. It's not even close. Trust
Ohio
me.
State, where are they rated?
Spoken like a guy from Iowa.
Where are they rated on the women's side? Are they
number 2, and Iowa's number 10. So
okay. So they're getting number 2 behind South Carolina at this point.
Yes, South Carolina is also undefeated, and then LSU, the other undefeated team, at number 3.
So there's 3 undefeated teams still left. Wow.
Yeah, and remember, Ohio State just beat Illinois last Saturday, so don't think they haven't been challenged. But trust me, Caitlin Clark, she's been going off lately. So I think they can give the Buckeyes a run for their money.
Is she a senior now?
I believe she's a junior, if I'm correct.
Yeah, she started right out the gate as a freshman.
And I like how she plays. She likes to shoot from the logo, and she gives that Jordan shrug. Trust me, she's unstoppable.
I was just wondering, because if she was a senior, you're thinking, okay, she's going to be getting pretty close to playing in
WNBA.
At the next step. So that's what I'm thinking here. So
yeah, I think it's going to be a barn burner of a matchup.
Well, it looks pretty good. All right.
To throw something in there, speaking of Michael Jordan, how scary is it? His birthday was yesterday, and he turned 60.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, his birthday's in February.
Well, they were talking about his birthday yesterday.
No. His birthday's in February.
Well, he'll be 60.
I know that.
That's
but
the scary part.
Can we roll up to
his birthday's in February?
Can we roll up to his fancy mansion and give him a birthday cake? See if he lets him in.
I just know that for a fact because a buddy of mine.
I don't know why they were
has a
talking
birthday
about
right
his
near.
birthday yesterday for some reason. I don't know why they were doing that.
Well, this is the year of
no,
Jordan.
I'm sure you're right, but
this is the year of Jordan. So what's the difference?
It's the year of 60.
And actually, throw this in. I just saw something on social media this week. He was at some practice or benefit. I don't know what it was, but he went out and threw a dunk down. He could still dunk it.
Oh, sure he can.
Did you guys have been following that little beef he's having with Isaiah?
Isaiah, yeah. Haven't they always had a little beef?
Well, yeah, because
for like
Mike
1,000
was
years?
the greatest player
Rusty.
to come in and upset the apple cart of Detroit.
Rusty, I'm going to squeeze in some hockey real quick. Just give the top 6 teams just for our hockey listeners. Quinnipiac still number 1. Minnesota number 2. Denver 3. Ramberg defending champs. St. Cloud State number 4. Boston number 5. And then number 6, Penn State. And kudos to a local school in Notre Dame for pulling off the upset against number 6 Penn State on the road yesterday.
What happened in North Dakota? Aren't they usually a pretty good hockey team?
Yeah, they got frozen.
Shout out to St. Cloud State.
They got frozen.
North Dakota's
I
not
played
even
with one
ranked.
of their best goaltenders of all time, Doug Randolph. Came
Did you
from
beat him, Doug?
Evanston High School. No, we played on the same team in high school, but Doug was one of the best goaltenders.
And I know baseball and
St.
softball,
Cloud.
we alluded to this last week, but it's coming up for colleges. They start
it is.
early. We always talk
Hey,
about
we're
that.
21 days to pitchers and catchers. It's
Well, that's
coming,
for
my friend.
that's for Major League Baseball, but college starts really early. And maybe we'll have Carson hit on that next week, go searching on that to find out who's the first team to get started. Well, most of our colleges go to
First
Florida.
game starts in February 17th.
February 17th.
Hey, that's the same day pitchers and catchers report. How about that?
They'd start quickly. But more teams from around here will go south because the weather is not good. So we need to hit a break. We'll come back. Boy, do we have to talk about basketball. We've got a coach coming on after the break from Antioch. Keep an eye on this team. It's one of those sleeper teams that are playing some pretty good basketball. We'll go through the games, including some upsets last night in Gurnee and another one out in Wakanda. So back right after this here on WRLR.
You're listening to 98.3 FM, WRLR LP, Round Lake, Illinois.
WRLR is community radio.
I feel much more informed with what's happening today.
When we say community, we really mean it.
It's not like corporate, and it's just a good station, you know?
We don't belong to some large corporation that makes a profit from this station.
Because I like the diversity.
And listeners won't be forced to listen to large blocks of advertising. Operations at community radio stations are made possible through grants and underwriting from companies within this area of operation. And donations, funds, and equipment, services, and time from area residents who volunteer their time to get involved.
It's as if it's my next door neighbor talking to me, only he's on the radio instead of next door to me.
Real people just like you.
I like them. They tell it like it is.
Local focus, local news, local music, of the local people, and by the local people.
It's different than the rest of the stuff I hear.
I love the show. I listen every day.
WRLR.
What's it like to walk in the shoes of a Navy SEAL, a beekeeper, a rabbi, a dentist, a ghost hunter, or a professional clown? Join me, Jim Wunderlich, on Word of Mouth, Thursday mornings from 11 a.m. to noon, and hear their stories. Captivating guests from a wide range of professions sharing a behind-the-curtain view of their jobs. Jobs such as an interrogator from Guantanamo, a private chef, a film director, a doctor, an orchestra conductor, a college basketball coach.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hey everyone, it's Norm, and every Tuesday afternoon, 3 to 5 Central, I'm coming right at you here on WRLR. Let's share some information. Have lots of fun. We'll play plenty of music as we finish the business day in the office or take the drive home. Stream the net, WRLR.FM. 98.3 FM is the voice of Lake County on the radio dial. Join Norm Tuesdays, 3 to 5, right here on WRLR.
Matthew.
Huh? Oh, sorry.
It's okay. I just need you to listen to me.
I know that a lot of times, Mom, it might not seem like I'm listening to you, but I am. I hear you. And what you say really does matter to me.
I mean, let's be honest. No kid likes rules, but I get why we have them. I hear you, and I know it's because you care.
All the talks we've had over the years, including what you've told me about not using alcohol and other drugs, they stick with me. And believe it or not, they really do make a difference, especially at times that matter most.
Hey, want a drink?
No thanks, I'm good. So thank you, Dad, for talking and preparing me for what's ahead.
Thanks, Mom, for never giving up and always being my biggest fan.
Thank you for letting me know what you expect, so I can try to meet your expectations.
Thank you for talking.
For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
You're listening to 98.3 FM, WRLR LP, Round Lake, Illinois.
26 degrees out and about. Going up to about 32 today. Got clouds around as usual. Maybe some snow tonight. Just a dusting is all I'm thinking we're going to get.
Mr. Big Shot over here.
I just don't think it's going to be much.
Yeah, you don't think of a lot
Well, you're
of
going
things
low a little bit later on in the week. By the way, that snow will last till tomorrow morning if we see much of it. Tomorrow's high, middle 30s maybe, 35. We're going to be in the 30s most of the week. However, colder weather coming in later on in the week. Wednesday is the iffy one. If we may see our first good snowfall we haven't seen in a while. Maybe, but I'm just leaving it there. We'll know more by Tuesday. So.
Oh, you think so?
No, I'm not thinking anything so. I'll know more by Tuesday. I don't know.
You'll even know more
like Bruce said earlier, cold air could be coming in to squash it. It's very possible.
Anyone could be a weatherman. Just guess the weather, and even if you get it wrong, you say, well, I tried.
Believe it or not, weather guys on the Weather Service are right about 85, 90% of the
Think
time.
about it. You can't ridicule a weatherman for getting it wrong. You just say, oh, something happened, you know? That's the one job where that's the one job where you can be wrong and still keep your job.
Oh, not totally. I don't agree with that, to be honest, because you got to know what's going on out there.
But you don't have to get it right.
I'll sit you down one day, and you can watch me do a 7-day forecast, and you'll run out the door and go like,
I hear people saying that all the time.
Hey, guys, let's talk about high school sports. We have a coach now with us from Antioch High School, and I really think that he's done a great job in the Antioch program, getting it a lot better. And I get this feeling that some people better watch out for this team down the road. They're playing some good basketball, not totally at home, but on the road, believe it or not. Winners of 4 of their last 5 games. We got Sean Connor with us. Sean, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Just got done with shoot around. It's good to hear from you guys.
Oh, you're shooting the ball around this morning, or the team?
Yeah, the team did. We had our walkthrough and our scout because our girls have a senior day today, so they have games at 9 and 11. So we got basketball going on all day at our gym.
All right. Well, tell us about this team this year. I know Marshall Gerke got an injury, and that's a little bit of a setback, but the rest of the team's been playing pretty well.
Yeah, we just, like everybody else, went through injuries and sicknesses, you know, and I know a lot of that might be carryover when we're wearing masks from COVID maybe, and people are still building up immunities or just not being around each other. So whatever it was, the flu, you know, we kind of just have had a different starting lineup every game, right? And so that's been a major challenge. But I think the reason we've been able to hold it together is because we got 9 great seniors on the team. I think over 5 or 6 of them have been playing varsity since they were sophomores or freshmen. So that, like, you can't really pay for that, right? Like, that's just something that came naturally with the group that I was very lucky to inherit, that they're very experienced and had been around the varsity game for a while, and so they kind of know how to navigate, right, all these little hurdles that we're facing.
How much is the Gerke's injury? Talk about that. Did that affect anything you were doing with the rotation?
So Marshall, right, like, we can kind of move him in and outside. And so that's kind of one of the nice things about having that flexibility, right? And so when other guys come in the game, what we've really tried to emphasize is, you know, trying to get the ball inside in the post and being versatile. And so what you've seen over time with our group is guys filling in those roles, right, that he took on, you know, as a defender, as a ball handler, as a scorer, as a rebounder. Like, we would pretty much give him the ball wherever we could to get a matchup and a mismatch. And so, not having Marshall in there, right, defensively is tough because he covers so much ground because he's such a great athlete, but then offensively because he can do a little bit inside and outside.
When you have that senior-laden lineup like you do, Coach, how does that allow you to move to a second tier of coaching, so to speak, and because you're not as worried about maybe some of the fundamental coaching that you have because the players kind of understand what you're trying to teach in your system?
You're 100%. You guys came into the game last year when we played Richmond Burton, right? We were mostly juniors, sophomores, a freshman, and a lot of those guys were learning a new system. Last year, I was the third head coach that senior group had, right? So those guys were all over the place. And so now you're starting to see a year and a half into this that they are picking up on things, and I can let them play a little bit more because we have leadership at a level of a higher basketball IQ. We had great leadership last year, but the basketball IQ just wasn't there. Right now you're seeing that coupled together. And so when you put 4 or 5 of those seniors on the floor that have all this varsity experience for the last 3 to 4 years, right? As a coach now, you can kind of trust them to just make decisions and play. And right, we've had some bad ones too. We've had some games where we made some real bad mistakes, and then you just got to learn from right. And then you hope something happens now where every coach's dream is to be peaking in February going into the state tournament.
Mm-hmm. Take us back a little bit, Marshall Gerke. How did that injury happen?
So he was just competing for a rebound against Fremd, and it was the first game of the Wheeling Hardwood Classic, and it was I think the third or fourth quarter, and a kid just kind of came down and caught him in the middle of the back of his hand in the wrong spot. So he had a broken metacarpal, and so he just had surgery. He just got his full cast off. Now he's in a partial cast. And then he's got 4 to 5 weeks of PT he's got to do still. So, unfortunately, he'll probably be out the rest of the season. And I know you guys know he does BMX, and he was an all-conference football player this fall. So he's got Big Ten schools coming in and talk to him about playing cornerback. So he's going to be able to do whatever he wants. And I just told him, getting that hand healthy is more important because he's got 2 years of high school left. Right, he's got plenty of basketball in front of him, and like I said, we're lucky to have this deep senior group and some really talented juniors behind him. That we've reconfigured our puzzle and trying to figure out who we are without him, and I think that's going well right now.
Coach, what did you maybe learn about your team these last couple games, against Grant, Julian, Wakanda, that they can maybe apply to the rest of the schedule you got left? I know you got big matchup against Round Lake and Lakes on Tuesday.
I know most of you guys know I came from the Paul Prep with Tom Kleinschmidt, and, as great a scorer as he was, him and Coach Kenny Griswold, who's a CCL Hall of Famer, really were big defensive guys. Tom is a phenomenal defensive coach, and that's why you're constantly seeing them playing teams in the 30s and 40s because he just figures out a scout and he grinds teams down. And so after Christmas break, I told our guys, we got to get back to that. Last year, we went from giving up 50 points a game to 45 points a game. We started this year giving up 45 points a game. We were playing close with Libertyville and Evanston and holding them in the 40s. And all of a sudden over Christmas, we're giving up 50 and 60. And I was like, we got to get back to that identity of playing defense. And so I think you saw at Grant, we held them in the 40s, and Julian, we held in the 30s. And now this past Wednesday with Conda, we held them in the 30s. And so I think we're getting back to what we really know needs to be our core, which is getting stops on defense.
Hey, Coach, how much playing defense is mindset, and how much is it that the players having the physical skill or talent in the matchups? I mean, how much of that defense is mindset in your mind?
To me, it's dominant mindset, and that's what I really learned from Coach Griswold and Coach Kleinschmidt. Was we're just talking about defense. So you'll do drills in practice, right, where instead of saying first team to 3 makes, you'll say first team to 3 stops. So you have to score the ball efficiently to earn the right to get on defense and get stops. And I think, again, you're kind of seeing our guys get back to understanding, we've had some 50 and 60-point games, but that's just not going to be for us every time. If it is there, great. Then that should mean your margin of victory should be higher, not still be 10 points because you're giving up 50, 60 points. And so our guys just understand, the shot's not just going to be there all the time for us. We're not a spectacular offensive team. We run motion, we pound the ball in the post. And so the mindset to me is the more important part because even Marshall will admit to you, he's such a great athlete that he'll miss a defensive assignment, but his lateral speed and explosion is so credible Like, he'll still make up for it and get to where he needs to be, where other guys, like, would be 2-3 steps late and they'd have no chance of stopping the ball. And so I think the mindset and the mentality is what's got to come first, because you can teach a lot of guys who are just hard workers and smart to beat guys to spots and take good angles.
Coach, this is a time of year I find very interesting because you've gone around the conference once already, or just about. Now you're starting to come around the second time around. And how much do we get to see the upsets? Like last night, Wakanda beat Grace Lake Central. and of course, we're going to talk about, Warren beating Libertyville. But is it understanding your opponents more the second time around? Is that what comes down to it?
Right. Like, guys, like, everybody's got tape on each other now. And you guys know with Huddle, like, I think majority of high school coaches have subscribed to more of the college model. Like, college has synergy. So everybody's tape goes to there, and then the teams pull from it, and you can use whatever you want. And we're all realizing, like, we got families. Like, I want to go home to see my wife and 2 kids that just had a baby in June. I don't need to be running around scouting everybody all the time and seeing them in person unless I feel it's necessary. Now, there's some other coaches that don't always subscribe to that, but for the most part, like, we're all trading tape with each other because we'd rather be at home. Like, last night, I watched Wakanda Grace Lake Central on YouTube on my app, on my TV. Right? Like, you couldn't do that, so many years ago. I mean, when I was a manager at NIU 20 years ago, we were still using VHS. It's how far, that's come in the ability to scout. Like, I'm playing with my daughter downstairs while, watching the game. Don't tell my wife that. But, like, that's the nice thing about that is you can. So, yeah, now at this point in time in the season, it's like your game prep is almost more important than anything while you keep adding to what you can do as a team, right? Like refining things, strengthening things, maybe adding a twist here or adding a little caveat there just to try to give you an advantage over the opponent you play. But you're 100% right. Like, it's that time of year, like, you're seeing upsets because, teams have got enough tape and coaches can game prep. And now it's a chess game, right? Like, okay, you do this, I'm going to do this to you. How are you going to react to it? And as long as the players are locked into that scout, that's what makes for great games, especially in your conference. Right? Like, everybody knows the NLCC, like, the better players usually go D3, and there's been some scholarship guys out. But the level of competition is very similar. So, everybody's got a tough scout every game. And, what do we have, like 2 overtime games against Lakes last year, plus the regional went down to the wire, and we had another overtime with them this year. Those rival games, like, they're going to be like that. It's like college basketball right now, right? Like, you get into that conference slate, and it's just a war every night.
Coach Connor, every coach has their own formula as they move towards the playoffs about, how many players you're going to play in a rotation. And how often, and then, just like you were talking about defensive mindset, being more aggressive on the ball. What have you evolved into as a coach in terms of understanding of maybe tweaking some things as a coach now when you move towards the playoffs?
Yeah, like, again, I've studied under some great head coaches like Phil Ralston at Glenbrook South, Terry Head at Michelle Clark, Mark Lindo, Naperville North, Joe Conroy when he was at Woodstock, and now he's back in college. So, like, I've been under a lot of great guys that I've learned from, and the way the game evolved, right, is it's matchups based. And so every time we do a scouting report, we're tailoring it exactly to what the other team does well. Obviously, like, trying to minimize their strengths, maximize their weaknesses, and then vice versa for us, and based on our personnel, right? And as you guys know, the first 2 months that changes so much, like guys coming back from football, not in shape, or guys that had injuries early and had to come back, or, guys got sick and other guys filling in roles. And so that's been, I think, the biggest challenge for us, but maybe it's going to be a great benefit because we got a lot of guys who got minutes at the beginning of the season having to take on all these different roles based on opponents we played. And that just grows the IQ, right? Like the understanding of how do we have to attack other teams as a team defensively and offensively to get the most out of what we got. And so, but that's, again, like, I would sit and watch Kleinschmidt and Coach Griswold, like, make up these scouts that really tailor down to stopping the other team. And, like, DePaul lost to Fenwick by 2 last night, but they held Fenwick to 33 points. So I know everybody's going to look and say they scored 31, but, I mean, I'd take a 33-point defensive effort against Fenwick every day.
Do you like the way things have been shaping, Coach, so far? Do you like the way things have been shaping with this group of players?
Yeah, 100%, right? Like, now we're at winning 5 of our last 6, and so you have to be really happy with how they're coming together. And their new mantra right now is like new season, right? Like you guys said, you're going through this back half of conference, and then Wakanda knocks off Grace Lake Central, and at 3 losses, you got to keep the belief that even though we got 3 losses in conference, if you keep battling and things fall your way, obviously you got to stack wins. But I love where they're going right now because the mentality's there, the senior leadership's there. They're getting after each other in practice. We're finding little ways to make each other better. We brought up a few sophomores this week to fill in for some of the injuries we've had and get those guys experience. And those guys are now being taught by our older guys. So when you start seeing your players just unsolicited go up and go talk to a sophomore, go talk to a freshman and teach them what we're doing, and I don't have to walk over and do it, then I think you got to be happy with where your culture is going as a coach.
All right, Coach Sean Connor over at Antioch. I've got my eye on the Sequoits. I really do. I know you're going to take on Round Lake. You got a nice matinee this afternoon. Is that starting at 3 o'clock? Is that what I'm seeing on the schedule? Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
All right. Well, good luck on that game. Good luck in the next few games, and let's hope you can get to the top of the conference, all right?
Yeah, thank you guys for having me this morning. I really appreciate it. Have a great day.
All right, have a great day. That's Sean Connor, the head coach over at Antioch High School. Like I said, this is a team to watch. It's one of those sleepers that if you're not watching too closely, they might come up and not only bite you, they might beat you in a game.
Who would have thought Lakes and Antioch basketball would have conference stakes on
Lakes has been playing well, throughout the year. They opened up that, Thanksgiving tournament. They had problems, but ever since then, they've gotten better. So let's run through the game that we had last night, which was a frantic game. When I mean frantic, the pace of this game, when we went into, I know Carson and I were there at the game last night, were just totally, I was a little bit surprised. I thought we'd see a typical control half-court game. No, not at all. Zach Ryan came out, put the pressure on Libertyville. And I got noticed when I got in the gym, Brian Zerkowski came up to me and told me that Libertyville is going without Will Booker. He had gotten injured in a previous game. He was in a boot, I guess, on Tuesday. They were going to have him warm up, but he wasn't ready to play, so he wasn't going to play him. And as we got in the pregame show, I said to Carson, when you take a player out of a lineup that you're used to, the chemistry changes. You don't know what you're going to get out of it.
Who that player is. He's a point guard. He controls the ball, and he's been one of their leading scorers. So he's not only a great scorer, but he's a distributor of the ball.
But he's also their defensive player, too. That's strong.
But the biggest thing is he controls the basketball for the team. So you take him out of the lineup, you got problems. Somebody else has to control the ball, and they have to have faith in him to control the ball.
Well Rusty, let's give kudos to Mr. Blaze La Vista, who said hasta la vista to the Warren Blue Devils, knocking down those threes. He kept them alive, and I think the key to last night's victory for sure was Warren's full court dash half court pressure that they applied early on, especially in the second quarter, that really made them uncomfortable. So, and the last few games, Fidel and Zach Ryan were saying that they've been turning the ball over. They had 23 when I saw them against Zion. They only had, I believe, 9 in the first half and only a few more in the second half. So they really handled the ball well last night.
All right. To your point, though, Blaze La Vista is a promising freshman guard on Libertyville who is very skillful. A lot of people have been noticing his play in the lineup. Very skillful athlete.
I saw Bruce. Is he a 1 or a 2?
He is, Booker, when Booker's in the lineup, obviously Booker controls the basketball.
Thing is about the game here, give credit. Libertyville started out with a 2-0 lead. Warren got on a 10-0 run, took the lead that they never relinquished throughout the rest of the game. Libertyville had to chase, and they got down as much as 14 points in the third quarter, so it was a chase-type game for Libertyville, and things were not going their way, and it showed on the court. You could see the frustration coming out on the players. Everything wasn't going. It was one of those nights that they couldn't get the job done. And taking consideration, I don't know if you know this, Don, but playing at Warren, it's one of those places, it's a big gym. The baskets are off the walls. People always talk about it's a hard place to shoot. There are some gyms that are like that. It's not like Libertyville, where it's a cozy feeling. You're used to playing at home. It's a different place to play, loud, ruckus-type crowd. It's different to play there. And Warren really took advantage of their home court last night.
It's funny you mention that because you're aware of this because we've been doing these games at the various gyms. And the lighting is different in all of these gyms. And Warren is one of those. It's kind of dark lit. Lake Zurich, definitely. Yep. And then Grant is the other one. The lighting is really low lit. So if you don't have separation between the basket and the wall, You've got to spend one half getting your depth of field together, shooting the basketball, and it's difficult.
Give kudos to the defending of Warren, of down low on Bonder and Boone. They really executed on making them one and done and cleaning up the boards. So,
all right, let's hear from the coaches. I caught up with them after the game, and you got to give credit to Zach Ryan because this might have been, I really believe, this might have been their best overall performance throughout the year because they played lights out. They held on to the game. I know earlier this year, Rob and I were over at Stevenson. They had a lead in that game, and they gave it up in the third quarter. But this game, they held Libertyville away from taking the lead, and that's why it was a big game.
Coach, I got to hand it to you. This is probably one of the best wins this year. How do you feel about it?
Really good. And, I'm just really proud of our guys and how hard they battled. And we've talked all year about us needing a win against like a signature really good team. We've had some wins against decent teams, but no one really to the caliber of like a Libertyville. So, and tonight we did it. And, it wasn't always pretty there at the end, but we got some tough guys and some guys that battle, and they got some tough guys and some guys that battle. So it was a battle out there. It was like a football game.
It was a frantic pace.
Yeah.
Not used to seeing this for Warren standards, but you're coming from Carmel. You're the new coach here. And you took the frantic pace to build a lead, which you got it up to as much as 14 points. And we've seen in the past, I remember doing a Warren and Stevenson game where you had a lead, and then you gave up that lead.
And then we did it against them too.
Yeah, I was going to say, how much did this team grow tonight to keep building the lead and maintaining that lead?
Well, that was the thing. Like, we've been really close all year. And like you said, in the Stevenson game, the first time we played Libertyville, we've put together some really good first halves. And tonight we just came in and we kind of said enough is enough. Like, we got to put together 4 quarters. And tonight we finally did that. We knew it wasn't going to be easy because they're a really good team and we're going to have to battle for it. But we've been talking about that for weeks now, about putting together 4 quarters, an entire game. And when we do that, we'll beat a good team, and we'll see why.
And Libertyville tried to take over the lead. You got it down to 1, but you didn't let them do it. What was really key to keep that lead?
I just think our guys stuck together. I think they stuck together, and they're huddling up and they're communicating, and this is a great environment. And I think finally, it takes time to learn how to win, and these guys have been close and getting closer and closer and closer, and now we finally did it. And now I think a win like this can really show these guys how good we can be.
Mm-hmm. What have you learned from the younger players like Daniels, the lead the way? Because I looked on your score sheet, it seems like everybody scored here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you look at our roster, really the only guy that played last year was Adam Panic. So we got a lot of new guys to varsity basketball. And I've explained to him that in our league, in our schedule, it's tough. And to make a transition from the lower levels or an 8th grader for some of our guys, it's a big switch against a team like that's experienced, big and strong, and has been through battles and has had success over the past couple years. It takes time. And once you do it, I think then they can kind of see that the pattern for how to do that. And, so it's great for these guys. They've worked hard, and we've asked a lot of them, and I think they'll say that this is working.
What does this win mean when you look forward?
It's a great win for us. And like we said Monday, after we left Warrenville, we said we're in need of that win. We just haven't had that win yet. And this is one that, at this point, in almost late January now, could kind of springboard us into the second half of our conference season and, into regionals. So really happy, really proud of these guys.
Great win.
Thanks, Russ.
There you go, right there. A coach that's very happy about the game from last night, what they achieved, getting that big win. Here's a team that's only a couple games over 500, that's it, but maybe a team to watch for down the road. Now, I want to go over to Brian Zerkowski after the game because they were on a 13-game winning streak. And the thing is, sometimes a loss like this could be a helpful one. Instead of keep winning, they haven't lost since, 2 months ago it's been already. So let's hear from Brian.
Brian, I know losses are tough, and it's been a while since you've lost a game.
Yeah.
How do you look at a game like this?
You got to look to grow. These types of games, I thought Warren did a nice job tonight, played extremely hard, and, defended their home court. I thought our guys fought hard tonight. I think when you miss a couple things go bad, all you can ask for is you guys fight to the end. And I thought the guys did that tonight, and playing shorthanded and guys playing a lot of minutes and playing at the tempo that we played at to get back in that game. and having chances. And I commend our guys. But, don't take anything away from Warren. They did a nice job tonight.
You led only one time in this game at 2-0. Yeah. They built a 14-point lead on you. You kept chipping away. You finally got it down to 1. You had chances to take the lead. What didn't work to take the lead?
Just basketball. This game is, it comes down to possessions, and you miss free throws, you miss layups, the other team making their free throws, and that's what it comes down to. It's all about a game of possessions, and, every time that we chip back, I thought they did a nice job settling down, but our guys fought to the end, and again, playing short-handed and going after it, our guys couldn't ask for anything more. Mm-hmm. And what's next is, you just got to play the next game. In life, if you're worried about the past, you're never going to make it to the future. And I thought our guys, like the message in the locker room is, we got to move forward. And and tonight, you can learn from these games, but you also have to move forward. You have to look to the next thing and respond, because it's the only way you're going to get through adversity. And I thought our guys did a good job in the locker room. Our guys did a good job tonight in the game. And but again, I thought Warren played well tonight, and they controlled the glass. That was one of their biggest strengths, and their finishing inside was really key, and hitting some big threes.
Mm-hmm. A lot of times when you get on a winning streak, and you had a long winning streak, it's been since last year you actually won a game.
Yeah.
Or actually lost the game. Let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
But, is this a good time to take a loss, you think?
The big cliche is it's sometimes a loss is good, right? And I think you can't. I don't look at it as a loss. I look at it as an opportunity to grow. And I think our guys handle that very well in terms of, hey, what's going to be next? Is we got to be ready to go the next day. And this is a growing moment, and we got some great fighters in there, and I'm ready to go to battle with them the next game.
All right, thanks a lot, Coach.
Good seeing you.
All right, there you go. And the final score was 50-45. Which Libertyville cut it to 46-45 in the final minute. They had chances to take the lead. They couldn't do it. And then Warren sank 4 free throws in a row to close the game out. So give all the credit to Warren.
Is this a resurgence with Warren? Or was this Libertyville not showing up?
I think it's a combination, and I think Warren had their best overall performance of the year. They knew how to close out the game, and it's something they haven't been able to do because they have youthful look that's been there. I mean, this is a team that could get there down the road, but I think what Zach's installed in the group really came to the forefront for them last night.
It was really Warren's defense that stepped up in those turnovers, and also I was talking to Zach. He was saying to us, Stevenson better be thanking us for that win last night, because now that ties Stevenson and Libertyville for first.
Well, I was listening to Coach Z's post-game comments. Free throw shooting was the thing that was the separation, it seemed like. In a close game, 5 points, free throw shooting is everything. If you're not in your free throws, that's the game right there.
All right. Let's go through the scores from last night, if we can, in the North Suburban, because I wouldn't say there was any other surprises here. Close games, though. Lake Forest beat Waukegan pretty handily, 66-58. Lake Zurich tried to battle with Stevenson. It was 50-42 Patriots, winners over the Bears. And Mundelein beat Zion Benton 59-48. And by the way, Zion still has not won a game.
Wow.
In this entire season.
That's hard to believe. You think all that Zion history.
It's funny. Carson got a chance to see Zion play Warren this week. They're playing with 3 sophomores.
Yeah.
If that doesn't tell you anything, at least right now.
It just feels weird to say that Zion's basketball is down, Those years with Don Cloth and obviously the current coach, Bobby Worthington.
All right, back in the Central Suburban, Deerfield beat Maine East. Close one there, 49-47. Niles North continues to lead the Central Suburban North. They have not taken a loss. They defeated Highland Park 59-41. And Vernon Hills got a nice, solid victory over Maine West, 65-44. So the Cougars continue to play well. Third place in that conference. Carmel had a close battle last night in the East Suburban Catholic. Believe it or not, they lost to Bennett. A close game by just a point, 2 points, 49-47. So nice battle, but that game was at Carmel. So Bennett always has a tough time coming to Mundelein. You get good games over there. And I mentioned the big upset in the NLCC last night is that Wakanda beats Grays Lake Central 47-42. Braden Carlson had 18 points to lead the Bulldogs. Pretty good effort for the entire team and a good win. And Wakanda's only been a 500 team, but Grays Lake Central, another team. You know, you get worried about other teams for a second time around the conference. They watch tape, as you heard Sean Connor say, they're going to catch you. And it's a tough place to play. Wakanda's one of those places that is a tough play. Big gym. The baskets are off the wall. Lighting's different. It makes a difference.
That's the shooter.
Games for today, Lakes at Grant. 3 o'clock start. North Chicago, Grays Lake North at 7. Round Lake and Antioch at 3. Couple non-conference games. Mundelein at Palatine at 4:30. And Stevenson will be at Prospect. That's a nice matchup. And Highland Park is playing Hyde Park.
Wow.
Pretty good team at Young. That'll be at 5 o'clock this afternoon. That's going to be a tough task for that team. Top 5 on the boys here. Big battle here. I got Libertyville and Stevenson at number 1 right now. And close behind them is Lake Forest, surging. And they're in the 3 spot.
Ace is coming back off his
Ace is back. They've got their full lineup back. They're starting to play well. This is a team to keep an eye on. I got Grays Lake Central at 4, Deerfield at number 5. On the girls' side, I got to mention this because there's been some crazy teams, earlier in the week. Libertyville took a loss here. Stevenson took a loss there. Lake Zurich took a loss, believe it or not, during the week, including last night. Stevenson beat Lake Zurich on the girls' side 46-35. Big win. Because Lake Zurich has been the top team as of late in the North Suburban Conference. But these 3 teams are battling each other out. So give credit to Lake Forest. They beat Waukegan last night 64-29. Vernon Hills a winner over Maine West. And Mundelein beats Zion Benton. Top 5 on the ladies right now. I really almost want to have Lake Zurich, Libertyville, and Stevenson being all at number 1, to be honest, the way things are going. But I'm still going to give the nod to Lake Zurich right now, even though they lost to Stevenson last night. Stevenson at 2, or make it Libertyville at 2, Stevenson at 3, and then Deerfield at 4 and Lake Forest at 5. So I'm a little surprised what's going on the girls' side, but I think right now, the girls are stronger on the girls' side than the boys. And seedings are coming out in the next week or 2. So keep that in mind. So before we hit the break, I do got to mention that boys bowling sectional taking place here today, but they're all the way out at Don Carter Lanes in Rockford. Stevenson did not make the trip, unfortunately, but Libertyville's out there. Grays Lake North is out there. Mundelein, first ever chance to make it to the sectional. They are out there too as well.
Big wrestling invitational if you're looking for something to do. All this weekend at Libertyville High School. Great wrestling invitational that's going on over there.
Is that the county?
That's the Lake County Invitational.
It is the Lake County Invite. Yeah, it is big.
They brought it back. Remember, they kind of disbanded it for a while, and they brought it back. So Dale Egger doing a great job of organizing that.
All right, we got to hit the break. We'll come back. We got some soccer to talk about. Talk about the Blackhawks and golf. LIV has an agreement to be on TV. But the big question is, will you see it? More talk about this after the break here on the Sports Corner.
I've been holding on too tight with nothing in between. The story of my life, I take her home. I drive all night to keep her warm in time. It's frozen. The story of my life, I give her up. I spend her love until she's broken inside.
WRLR 98.3 FM.
WRLR is community radio.
I feel much more informed with what's happening today.
When we say community, we really mean it.
It's not like corporate, and it's just a good station,
We don't belong to some large corporation that makes a profit from this station.
Because I like the diversity.
And listeners won't be forced to listen to large blocks of advertising. Operations at community radio stations are made possible through grants and underwriting from companies within this area of operation. And donations, funds, and equipment, services, and time from area residents who volunteer their time to get involved.
It's as if it's my next door neighbor talking to me, only he's on the radio instead of next door to me.
Real people just like you.
I like them. They tell it like it is.
Local focus, local news, local music, of the local people, and by the local people.
It's different than the rest of the stuff I hear.
I love the show. I listen every day.
WRLR.
Hey everyone, everyone. It's Norm. And every Tuesday afternoon, 3 to 5 Central, I'm coming right at you here on WRLR. Let's share some information. Have lots of fun. We'll play plenty of music as we finish the business day in the office or take the drive home. Stream the net, WRLR.FM. 98.3 FM is the voice of Lake County on the radio dial. Join Norm Tuesdays, 3 to 5, right here on WRLR.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
What's it like to walk in the shoes of a Navy SEAL, a beekeeper, a rabbi, a dentist, a ghost hunter, or a professional clown? Join me, Jim Wunderlich, on Word of Mouth, Thursday mornings from 11 a.m. to noon, and hear their stories. Captivating guests from a wide range of professions sharing a behind-the-curtain view of their jobs. Jobs such as an interrogator from Guantanamo, a private chef, a film director, a doctor, an orchestra conductor, a college basketball coach.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, groan-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And, with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have any body to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
WRLR 98.3 FM.
We're up a degree, believe it or not, 27 degrees, cloudy skies. Maybe 33, 34 today.
Degrees of separation.
What's that? What?
That would be 6 degrees of separation.
Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? Chance of snow tonight. I'm not expecting much, maybe a dusting. That's all I can really think about.
I can't wait to call you. If suddenly we get 2 inches, I'm going to call Russ.
Anything's
you know
possible.
what? I'm going to wait till next week. That's when I'm going to get you.
We're going to stay in the 30s for most of the week. Looking at Wednesday for something. The question is, will the cold air get to be here before the snow gets here? This is the same thing almost scenarios that we had back in December when you think cold air and then...
Well, we're not going to...
No, we're not going to go really deep freeze, but just going to go...
We need to wait for February for that one.
Well, we're talking maybe
coming.
20 for a high later in the week. That's going to feel cold because it's been warmer. What is it, 12 or 13 degrees above normal?
13 degrees above average, yeah.
We haven't
That's
gotten
amazing.
our winter spanking yet, but we will.
The total winter.
We still got the end of
It's
January. We've got February. We got March. We got April. Oh, boy.
I have a feeling February, March, and April are not going to be
We're going to get hit one of those months.
Yeah, I kind of wish we were done and say, okay, let's start spring now. Like 2012, we started early
40
February.
days to meteorological spring.
Yeah,
March
I
1st.
said knock on wood. But
the last time I said that, we were in the 80s. I mean, not temperature, but days.
But I tell you, just don't look at the weather. Look at the animals. They're all confused.
You know, it's true. It's true. You say that. And I'll say this quickly. I've seen squirrels out there. I even saw a couple of bunny rabbits out jumping around this week. And I'm like, what is going on here? They are confused.
They respond to the weather that's already been. Like the woolly bear thing. Oh, the woolly bear is furry this year, and he's going to be a bad winter. Well, it's been cold the last 2 weeks. Of course he's going to be furry.
And Punxsutawney Phil's supposed to be showing up soon, too?
Yeah.
So he may be confused, too, like the rest of us.
Well, he only needs one or the other. It either is or it isn't.
Yeah.
What I want to know is the Super Bowl pick.
Hey, guys, let's talk about soccer. women's national team playing in New Zealand, which is going to be the site of the World Cup for 2023 later on this summer, which is going to be their winter. So they're going to be playing in cool temperatures out in New Zealand when this happens in the heart of summer. But they went out to check out the new stadiums out there, and the United States women's national team got 2 victories. They were held scoreless the first half in the opening game, but they went on to win 4-0, and then they played the second one yesterday or last night, which was actually today or Saturday in New Zealand. They won that game 5-0. Mallory Swanson, formerly known as Mallory Pugh, was exceptional in those games. She played very well. I think she was the player of the match in the first game. I don't know who they named in the second one, but you're trying to get used to the conditions. You're trying to get used to the field out there. I thought it was a great idea, number one, to go out there. This isn't the lineup you're going to use for the World Cup, but
Eddie, earthquakes.
Can we get
well, the USA women were putting the quakes on, I think, on New Zealand.
That's why
can we get a WRLR field trip to New Zealand? I'm ready to go. Come on.
Well, that's
we need the sports corner in New Zealand.
That's why they call it the Shaky Islands. Because they have a lot of earthquakes.
I'm ready to go. Let's go.
I've never been out there, but I'm like, it'd be an idea.
Australia.
Yeah.
Although New Zealand's supposed to be really nice.
Yep.
I agree with that too. So the Chicago Fire.
Rusty, they have golf courses.
Chicago Fire preseason. They're getting ready for that. They will be making their run to take part in a combination of teams with Real Salt Lake and a couple of smaller teams down in Arizona and Mexico. They're going to be playing for the next couple of weeks. There's 2 trips that they had planned for. They're also going to take part in a Leagues Cup. They announced this yesterday that you're going to have basically 2 MLS teams and a team from La Liga will join them. And you'll play to start this in April because they didn't finish in the top 16 teams in the league, that they'll have to be in the lower section of the tournament. There's 48 teams that qualify for this tournament. So they got Minnesota FC, a team from Mexico, and themselves. They'll play 2 games. And I guess you could check with the Chicago Fire, and the games will be at Soldier Field. I'm not sure if both of them are. I know one of them is with Minnesota FC. I'm not sure about the team from Mexico, if they're going down there or they're playing up here. I think it was Pueblo was a team that they're going to be taking out of Mexico. So we'll see how they will do with that. We'll have further information on that. But they are going to be playing some preseason games in the coming weeks. The end of February is when the league opens up. March 4th is their opening game. I believe that's the date at Soldier Field against New York City FC at 7:30 at night on a Saturday. I think that's kind of strange in early March. I figure a day game would have been more feasible with temperatures. You don't know what kind of weather we're going to get in early March. Could be snowing for all that matter. So we'll see how the weather will be at that time. Also, February 27th will be their kickoff luncheon to start out the season. A lot of new players. I've talked about last week. They've got a lot of new players. Duran has been sold off and for $18 million. I'm not sure if I'm big on that idea. I know it's bigger and better things for him at 19 years old, but he was a front-running scorer for this team. He really stepped up and was big last summer, but you also lost Selena to Chelsea, 19 years old, great goalkeeper, 29 clean sheets. We know how much he kept the team in check. But we'll see what happens this year. They've got new players. Will they be good? I don't know. Chemistry is the key thing, and we'll see how the Fire goes into the season on that. Over to hockey, Blackhawks.
Who?
Hey, they're winning some games. They won the other night.
They're actually our best Chicago team.
I'll be honest. They won
at 12-26.
Hold on a second. They won in Philadelphia for the first time since 1996.
Okay, that doesn't make them better. They won 3 Stanley Cups and didn't beat them. So,
but give them some credit. It's only the 4th time they've beaten them since the 1970s.
Fourth time. That's big. Yeah, that's really
Philadelphia. But the Blackhawks, I don't know what they're doing at this point. It's getting closer to trade deadline. There is some rumors out there. You got to trade the big guys, get something for them. I don't know what they're doing at this point. Why are they winning?
What's that?
If they're trying to hold back for the number 1 draft pick, I don't get it.
Well, Jonathan Toews
you know what they're doing? They're actually playing defense. you know what's been our biggest pet peeve with the Blackhawks? They don't protect the front of the net. They don't put their bodies on people. They just let them stand there camp out in front of the net, tip the puck, take shots 5 feet away from their goalie.
Jonathan Tays made the statement, I guess, that he understands that maybe a new scenario for him wouldn't be such a bad thing.
No, we know that he's due for that, but
this is the last year of those two guys' contracts, so they got to move them now.
When you have veterans like that, you don't want to jettison them too quickly if you're training younger players, because they're an example for those players how to be a pro.
However, Don, it's the end of their 8-year contract. You're not going to re-sign them. So you have to trade them.
Well, yeah, if you're not going to sign them, you got to trade them.
They would weigh way too much than the Hawks are willing to pay at this point. And you know, you want to pay. You don't want to pay that kind of money out when you're rebuilding. Not yet.
Well, it depends on, rebuilding is, that's a generic term, but really you're developing players that you have on your team. You're developing a culture and a style. So that means that you got to have leaders on there. You can't have a bunch of young dudes that they're not going to learn much from each other.
But they're going to have to learn.
Yeah. Yeah, but that learning curve goes up if you have some leadership. Like, I always tell them, look at the veteran. You want to see how things are conducted on a team, right?
I don't know. It's a unfortunate situation.
Yeah, they let it deteriorate, but there are a number of factors. We've talked about that many times.
But at this point, I don't know that is has much to do with the way they're playing. It's just I don't even know where.
Well, they're actually playing pretty good right now.
We'll see what they do. They're down in St. Louis tonight, and that's always a tough place to play. It's a big rival to take on the Blues. The Chicago Wolves were out in Winnipeg to take on the Manitoba Moose the other night. They won 6-2.
Manitoba Moose.
They won 6-2. They've kind of increased their record to 13, 18, and 2. So they're coming along. They're starting to pick up a little steam, win a few games because they've been struggling for a while. So let's see if this turns the corner. They will be taking on the Rockford Ice Hogs again tonight on the road.
You ever seen an ice hog? Pretty frozen.
Yeah,
thing,
I did.
would imagine.
I saw those ferocious fangs coming out.
Ice hog would be something you find at the grocery store.
Road hog. They should call them road hogs instead of ice hog.
All right. Let me get the golf clubs out. Time for golf here. By the way, auto racing, NASCAR comes back in a few weeks, so we'll start
golf?
talking.
Did you see golf?
Yeah, I want to talk about golf here. We'll get to the golf.
Golf music.
Oh, boy.
Hi, I'm Jim Nance.
I kind of like the music of Hawaiian music for the last couple of weeks.
But you got to whisper, I'm Jim Nance.
LIV, though, guys, I want to say this quickly. LIV has come up with a TV deal with CW. There's a catch to this, though, because it's more on their app. It's more on their streams. So if you think you're going to catch LIV on CW on local stations, which CW is more on, I think, is it WGN these days?
No, they're long gone.
Oh, they're long gone from there. Okay, I'm not sure what CW is.
I think it's
26?
WPWR, maybe?
Oh, it's something like that.
Yeah.
It depends on the station if they want to show the tournaments.
It's a start.
Well, think about this. We definitely know that live golf is appealing to a younger demographic. I said that right out the gate, right?
But their numbers are weak.
They're going. Listen to what I'm saying before you cut me off. They're looking at a younger demographic, so they're going to pick off these young people as they come up. What's the best place to reach young people? On the internet, on an app, not on television. Television isn't what it was when we came up.
Like cable.
Cable was it? None of it is the same.
I don't
None of it is what it was when we came up. So I see that that's a good strategy for me. I mean, if I'm thinking, if you're trying to meet a young demographic, you know where they're at.
None of my
they're on TikTok.
None of me or my friends watch cable.
Yeah,
we don't.
Don, I don't know that it's a place they thought it was a good idea, or that's the only deal they could get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, obviously, they can get whatever their money can buy. They can get.
All right, let's go through golf. Last week, Siwoo Kim ended up winning the Sony Open, 18 under par. This week, they're at La Quinta, California. They're back in the mainland. That's Palm Springs out in the desert. What's that?
It's La Quinta.
La Quinta. Oh, excuse me. I always said it that. Well, I think of the
Right.
I think of the hotel.
The La Quinta Inn. Yes,
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking right now.
Well, that's where it comes from.
But it's in Palm Springs. Temperature's been on the cool side. It's been generally in the lower 60s. There hasn't been much breeze, but
I bet they're whining. When it gets chilly, they get
Davis
whiny.
Thompson This guy has come up with 5 eagles in the first 2 days, which sets a record on tour. Who is this guy? That's what I'd like to know.
That'll get you some top notch.
Well, he is leading the way a couple shots better than John Rahm as we're looking into round 3 here today. And John Rahm's been hot. Remember, he came from behind to win in Kapalua 2 weeks ago. So, let's see. I had a horrible week last week, so I earned the honors of getting first pick today. Do I want to go with the Eagle guy, or do I want to go with Rahm? I think Rahm's more the Eagle than Thompson.
Eagle man.
I'm going with John Rahm here.
Remember those bad commercials?
I had Thompson here,
Eagle
but I have Rahm here too. I'm going with Rahm because he helped me out 2 weeks ago, coming from behind. So I'm going that route. Bruce, you have second pick.
Thompson.
Well, it's kind of funny because 3 of you guys ended up in a tie, but because you had the second pick last week, you get the second pick this week.
So it's Thompson.
You want Thompson. You want to go with the other Eagle. Okay.
Eagle man.
Eagle maniac.
Let's see. All the 2 picks that we took are the ones that Mike wanted, so that's out. So he wants.
So
he wants
gets
Poston.
Poston.
Yes, he wants Poston.
Not saying Poston, but.
And let's see. Rahm Thompson is out. He'll go with Kim. Paul will go with Kim. That leaves Don with the next pick.
If he's taking Kim, I'm taking him.
Very good, Don. I'm impressed, and I don't impress.
Well, this is
I'm like
Tom
Jesse.
Kim.
I don't impress easily.
Jesse the body.
Tom Kim, you want to go with Sanjay M? Is that how you say it?
Yes.
Sanjay M.
Sanjay M.
All right. That sounds really good. Troy Mancini signed with the Cubs officially yesterday.
These signings?
I don't know if I like this because I don't think the Cubs need him. Because they're claiming.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Stop a second.
Hold the phone.
Hold it.
on the brakes.
Let me come up and say this. The reason I say this is they're saying
they don't need him. You're whining all this time. They don't get enough. Now they get it. Tonight you say they don't need him.
Or all the people on the outside are saying
Make
that
up your mind.
he's a designated hitter. Where are you going to put Wisdom? You're going to put Wisdom at third and have Morrill on the bench? I don't know.
By the way, I have the early over and unders.
Well, go for it. I don't.
Cubs 78. I'll take the over.
Morrill's got the speed. You don't want.
Don't you think 78 for the Cubs? I'll take the over on that.
Yeah.
Sox 84.5. I'll squeak the over on that one.
I like the fact that the Cubs are being active. You can't say the same for the White Sox.
No. You want to hit the Aussie Open? What's going on there?
Go for it. You got it.
I very little. I just know that Korda beat Medvedev to advance to the round of 16 for the first time in his career. I don't know why it's so tough to find out who's doing well in the ladies'
Well, Rafael Nadal got beat in the opening round, which was a shock. But he was
that
injured.
Was a shock.
That was a shock there.
He's getting a little
Coco Gauff, she won her match, a couple matches here so far. She's still alive in the third round. I saw that.
Korda was a 29th seed, so that's
cuckoo for Coco Gauff.
But Djokovic, the favorite on the men's side, he's won so many matches in a row. I think it's like 60 matches in a row now. Because don't forget, he had to skip the tournaments here in the United States because he's not taking the shot. He couldn't get the COVID shot.
That's all fixed up.
But he continues to dominate the Australian Open.
We'll give him a shot.
Go ahead, Don. Take your best shot.
Left hook.
So, I mean, that kind of stands out.
No.
At least on that situation. But the Australian Open, I will say, it seems a little later. I thought it was going to be a couple weeks earlier. But it started here a little bit later in January.
Yeah, that's fine. We don't want to rush into it. The weather's good down there. It's probably hot.
Not extremely hot, I've noticed. It's been tolerable. But
a couple years was 100.
I know they're playing in so many different facilities now. They've got at least 3 or 4 different places than the actual Arthur Ashe court out there. So you got a lot of different places to play golf, play tennis out there. So it has been pretty good tennis so far.
Anything we missed?
So I just want to go back to baseball a little bit. I know the pitchers and catchers are going to report in the next few weeks, but I'm just wondering, you gave numbers, where the Cubs are the Sox are going to be at. Cubs, I'm not sure they got enough.
Over in both. I think the Cubs are much better than 5
I do agree with Don that the Sox may not have done enough, but I'm not sure. I'm a little concerned about Liam Hendricks, though, with his health.
They've done less. Actually,
I'm a little concerned about his health. That's the thing.
Well, he won't be in he won't be ready for starting.
Deion Sanders got his Louis Vuitton luggage.
Oh, my goodness.
He got another cornerback, brother,
he
from
did.
Colorado.
Yeah, Colorado.
A big signing. The
All
man
right,
is
guys, we got to
making
run out of here. We want to thank Coach Sean Conner. We want to thank Carson Beck, Swamp Rack segment. Thank Don over here, Bruce, our intern, Rob Cartwright.
Don.
The new show comes your way next.
He's getting
Enjoy
out
the
of
rest
his
of your
car.
day. Be safe. So long, everybody.
Yep.
There's more than he gave, she's looking for. He calls her up, he's tripping on the phone. Now he doesn't want her out there and alone. Now he knows she's moving it, knows she's using it. Now he's losing it, she don't care. Everybody, put up your hands, say I don't wanna be in love. I don't wanna be in love till the beat now. If you got nothing left, say I don't wanna be in love. I don't wanna be in love. Pick it up now. You got a reason to live. Say I don't wanna be in love. I don't wanna be in love. Feeling good now. Don't be afraid to get down. Say I don't wanna be in love. I don't wanna be in love.
You're listening to 98.3 FM, WRLR LP, Round Lake, Illinois.
WRLR is community radio.
I feel much more informed with what's happening today.
When we say community, we really mean it.
It's not like corporate, and it's just a good station, yeah?
We don't belong to some large corporation that makes a profit from this station.
Because I like the diversity.
And listeners won't be forced to listen to large blocks of advertising. Operations at community radio stations are made possible through grants and underwriting from companies within this area of operation. And donations, funds, and equipment, services, and time from area residents who volunteer their time to get involved.
It's as if it's my next door neighbor talking to me, only he's on the radio instead of next door to me.
Real people just like you.
I like them. They tell it like it is.
Local focus, local news, local music, of the local people, and by the local people.
It's different than the rest of the stuff I hear.
I love the show. I listen every day.
WRLR.
What's it like to walk in the shoes of a Navy SEAL, a beekeeper, a rabbi, a dentist, a ghost hunter, or a professional clown? Join me, Jim Wunderlich, on Word of Mouth, Thursday mornings from 11 a.m. to noon, and hear their stories. Captivating guests from a wide range of professions sharing a behind-the-curtain view of their jobs. Jobs such as an interrogator from Guantanamo, a private chef, a film director, a doctor, an orchestra conductor, a college basketball coach.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's 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 this breaks my heart.